And we're off and running. We're back going strong. This is the great classic movie debate. As you can tell by my wallpaper, I'm slightly out of sync here, but that's okay. I'm Kenny.
Paul.
I'm Steve.
And we talk anything and everything about classic movies. Doesn't even have to be classic movies. Anything about movies, period. We try to keep it interesting. If you happen to be watching right now, please like, comment, and subscribe. We will love you for that. And don't forget to check out our sister channel, The Great Classic Rock Debate, where we've been going strong over there for a few months now. So check out both, and we think that you'll appreciate those things. Now, for tonight, I wanted to just start this way, okay? I want to say a few things about Nicolas Cage. The reason that I wanted to bring him up is because I seen just this past week a trailer for a movie I think called Renfield. You guys heard of that?
I saw it.
Oh, you saw it already?
Oh, yeah, opening night.
Oh, wow.
Was it good?
Hold on. I want to come back to that, but just tell us with like the thumbs up or thumbs down thing, how do you rank the movie that, having seen it?
For me, it's thumbs up.
Thumbs up? Okay. Good. Excellent. I want to come back to that. I've always been an enormous Nicolas Cage fan. The guy's been in so many good movies over the years. So many, all right? Many of my favorite ones. In fact, there was a period probably back in the 90s when all I had to hear was Nicolas Cage is in it. I didn't need to know anything else. I'm going to go see it because that guy's movies are always good. Oftentimes, he makes that movie good. His presence makes it good. Now, in recent years, things have taken a turn for Nick, all right? I know he had some IRS things. I don't know if he ever got that straightened out or not. It doesn't change my opinion of him. I still think he's awesome. However, I've taken sort of a different take on his movies over the past, 10 years or whatever. They haven't been the strongest output, not like it was back in the 80s and 90s. And a lot of them, I think, have been somewhat forgettable. I saw one about a year ago called The Unbearable Weight of
Massive Talent
or something like that. Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Okay. I thought it was entertaining, but for me, it fell short of being a really good movie. Okay. So I would give it, we talked before about the Rotten Tomatoes and the percentage. I would give it probably a 6, meaning it was more favorable and unfavorable, but I wouldn't have given it anything up around a 9 or anything like that. But the movie I wanted to talk about specifically, and I blame Paul for this. I'm thinking this was 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. Paul recommends this movie to me with Nicolas Cage. And he didn't have to twist my arm because it's Nicolas Cage. So he's like, it's really good. All right. So I watched it because that's what friends do. They take the advice.
I think I know what movie you're going to talk about.
I think I know what movie you're going to say too.
Well, it's a one-word title, and it's also the title of a Barry Manilow song.
Yes.
It's Mandy. Okay.
Yes.
Now, we can always go back to art is subjective and everybody has their own. That's fine. Not fighting that at all. But for me, I can't imagine that having my fingers pulled out one at a time could have possibly been worse than sitting through this movie. It was just agony. And all I could think the whole time as it's moving forward and it's not getting better is, at what point did Paul say this is really good?
Oh, no, did I? I don't think I ever said this is really good, did I?
Whatever your choice of words, I don't recall, but you were heaping praise on it. And I think you even went so far as to say it's the best movie Nicolas Cage has made in 10 or 15 years or something like that.
No way.
No, not in his lifetime, like in the last 10 years or something like that.
That could be true, yeah.
But that's kind of like saying this cancer is not near as bad as this cancer. You know, I mean, that's not.
Nicolas Cage, Kenny said that, not me.
Right. Listen, I'm a Nicolas Cage fan. That's why it made it so hard. So I'm pretty sure that anybody watching right now has not seen this movie. So I cannot stress to you in language strong enough, whatever you do, don't see it. Regardless of what Paul or Steve might say after me, don't see it. It'll be the worst experience of your life. However, I want to be fair. The scene where the roving band of psychopaths, whatever they call themselves, the scene where they have her in the van and they're playing the music, and the guy says, "Do you remember the Carpenters?" It didn't occur to me until right about that moment that the music they were playing was him. He was the one singing it, which made what was already a convoluted and nutty and crazy movie take a left turn off a cliff, I guess. But I have to admit, I laughed. He's like, "Do you remember the Carpenters? You know, they've got her tied up. They're kidnapping her, and they're playing this awful music." And he asked her, "Do you remember the Carpenters?" So I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, it never got better. So if you guys want to rebut me or disagree or whatever, go ahead. But
I'll let Steve go first.
Take Nicolas Cage into a different direction if you want. That's fine.
I have actually yet to see it, and it sounds like my kind of movie, and I just have not had the opportunity.
I think now our deceased friend Jeremy would shut up about this movie. He must have said it in a weekend 472 trillion times.
Yes.
All right.
It was right before COVID, and then that kind of happened, and I forgot.
So wait, so I wasn't there. He loved it. He thought it was a great movie.
Yeah, he would shut up. He literally would not shut up about it.
Okay.
And why Jeremy was a darker kind of movie person, and he likes it, and I liked it. I don't know if I ever said I loved it. I liked it, and this you wouldn't believe the reviews this thing got. Like this.
Okay, hold on. Let me say this real quick, because one of the first things I did was went to the Internet Movie Database to say, I want to know, am I nuts? Am I the only one? The reviews, I don't know that there's a movie in history where the reviews are more polarized. It was either the absolute worst movie I've ever seen or an absolute work of genius. It was one or the other. There was like no gray area, no middle ground on this.
That's exactly right.
And the funny thing about the negatives were it almost all started with the same question, and that is, did I just see the same movie that all these other people who gave it a 10? It was awful. It was terrible. So, and that was my take on it. But to be fair, lots of people thought it was a work of genius, and what maybe my memory is not correct, so correct me if I got this wrong, but I think a lot of them were saying was they were sort of taking the idea of the 70s horror movie and exaggerating it, spoofing it, whatever you want to call it, and doing their own little twist on that. So that was the idea anyway. I don't know if that's right.
Well, the director is some Greek guy, and if you were to read on the industry and critics, they like this man, this Greek guy is Jesus Christ Part 2.
Okay.
Some other movie. And they're like, this is and I was like, okay, you know, like I liked it. Okay. It had some really cool scenes and the style was bizarre.
A lot of violence, we should add, just in case somebody's
thinking. The girl in there, I cannot stand to watch a movie where someone beautiful gets destroyed. I just can't stand to see it. And that bothered me much.
It's hard to watch, some of it, yeah.
It's very hard to watch. And the guy who's like the psychopathic cult leader, was his name Linus in real life? He's a British guy. He was on for a long time.
He's on Law and Order, right?
So in this movie,
he was also, I think he was in Homeland, that TV show Homeland, which is very good, by the way. Pretty sure he was in that.
He plays this guy. He's like a Manson figure, and he's got these people who worship him. So he undresses completely in front of this girl with his thing out, and I think she knows where this is going to end. She's not stupid. And I think, and so she starts laughing at his unit.
Right.
That drives him insane.
Right.
Right. It's just like in this scene in True Romance where Dennis Hopper knows.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to get even with you. Even do you kill me? I'm going to make you die.
Yeah. You'll pay for eternity. You can kill me now, but I will haunt you forever. That's the top.
That's what this girl Mandy does. And then Nicolas Cage, I give it a 7.5, but I didn't understand the director. I mean, these people saw how great this movie was. And now I'm dying for Steve to see it. gotta see that, Steve, and the Wicker Man.
Yeah, I'll get around to it because
Yeah.
I love the 70s horror movies. I mean, it sounds like kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type.
It's different than that. It's hard to explain it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I remember in the Wicker Man, Elke Summer, butt ass naked, buddy. That should be motivation right
Yeah,
there.
Brett Eklund. Brett Eklund.
Brett Eklund, sorry.
I think the thing I've learned is that Paul doesn't care if ugly people get killed, just attractive people.
Right.
Yes.
I think you're right.
That's what,
By the way, it's worth mentioning that Nicolas Cage was in a remake of The Wicker Man. It was just called Wicker
Yes.
Man or Wicker or
it
something.
was
Other.
garbage.
It's
was
terrible.
garbage.
It lacks everything that made that original so good. They removed it for this awful remake. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just thought it was about a guy who made wicker chairs, and so it's like kind of awful.
The name certainly does not
Tell you
let you know what's going to happen. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Steve, it's really brilliant. Like see, that's what's lacking. That kind of movie is what's lacking in today.
You're right.
It's no accident. It's a British movie.
Yeah.
It's not an accident.
Yeah, and not a
American
big budget movie either.
No.
Even though they had Christopher Lee, but not a big budget movie and zero special effects. No special effects at all. None.
I think the indie was kind of it wasn't really a special effect. But,
Right. Right. Okay. Do you guys want to stay on Nicolas Cage, or do you want to go in another direction?
So everyone knows Nicolas Cage was actually born Nicholas Coppola.
Caggiano.
Huh? I think it was Coppola.
No, Caggiano.
Are you sure?
Yes, I think his mom is Coppola's sister. I think is what it is. So he's the nephew.
I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen him. All right, let's argue about that later.
Okay.
He changed his name, like, to be more, because I heard he was named Nicholas Coppola.
Okay. Now I'm not going to put my life on this, but my understanding was Caggiano, which begins with Caggi. Yeah, it just shortened it to Cage. That's my understanding. I'm pretty sure that's right.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
It does make more sense, but Nicolas.
Now, who was Coppola? Was he the guy that had the vineyard?
The guy directed The Godfather?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to add.
It says Nicolas Cage, according to IMDb, was Nicholas Tim Coppola.
Okay. All right.
I've read that before.
Okay.
But I think
the internet does not lie, so it's got to be right.
Oh, it's IMDb.
Right.
If it was Wikipedia, that'd be another thing.
Right.
But so he changed his name so that he didn't want anything to do with his uncle.
Right. Well, wanted to succeed on his own, which I can't knock a guy for that. Yeah.
What's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie, Steve?
If you go to me, I'm not like, I like him. He's not like one of my favorite actors. He's a talented guy. But I will say that, like, I love the unbearable weight of massive talent, because it was kind of he's in on the joke, obviously, and he's kind of spoofing himself.
Right.
And so I would probably have to say that. And I do want to talk about Renfield, because I did really like the movie. But we can
let us see it, and then we can talk. I want to see it.
I just want to say there's one reason, like, I give it like a 7. It may be a little bit higher, but that's because of me of being a big horror fan, and they do there's a lot of homage to the original Bela Lugosi Dracula movie. And for me, and it starts off that way, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, the first 3 minutes of the movie, I was like, this is fantastic. And my wife's sitting next to me, and I kept telling her, I was like, they did this in the 1931 version. So there's a big nerd like me sitting there, and I got all the kind of the inside jokes and references where probably a lot of your casual fan probably would miss. So,
do they have the song Bela Lugosi's dad in there?
Oh, God.
No,
that's one of
Bauhaus.
Yeah, one of the greatest. I thought it was Susie and the Banshees.
Right.
Those are the two greatest bands of all time, right?
Right. As a big fan of Nicolas Cage, I would really like to see the movie do well. And a year ago, I was hoping that The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent would do really well, but it just did sort of okay.
As an actor, I would say, like, when I saw the trailer, I was like, Nicolas Cage is Dracula, like, this is going to be so over the top, and you wouldn't associate him with that character. But I thought he actually did a great job, and it was very believable for me as him playing Dracula. And it did not come across as like, hey, that's Nicolas Cage playing Dracula. It
Okay.
felt legitimate.
Okay. All right, we got to
What
try to
about-
see it then. And we can
Yeah.
do.
The,
What
the
about-
story itself is kind of flimsy. It's just because there's a lot of like Easter eggs to the classic original movie, and once you see the story, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give it away to you guys, but it kind of has that 80s, I don't know, kind of basic, I don't know, Police Academy feel to it almost.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. A little
That
campy.
kind of storyline. Yeah, a little campy
Okay.
story.
What about, have you guys seen, hold on, have you guys seen Peggy Sue Got Married?
my
I
God.
saw that in the theaters.
I loved it.
Yeah, he's the husband in there.
Right. Well, let's do a chronology. Okay, his first movie was
Did he do a dance movie where he's
Fast
dancing?
Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
in that?
Yes.
What was he in that?
And he's just one of the teenagers hanging out in there. But when you see
Yeah,
him,
but
you
that
go,
doesn't
"Oh my
count.
God, that's Nicolas Cage!"
Come on,
And he's about
let's go to
17 or something.
what about his first movie where he actually was the star or something?
I'm thinking Moonstruck.
He's actually credited as Nicholas Coppola in Fast Times.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But hold on, did he do a movie where he's dancing before that, where he was like a I don't know. I have to look it up now.
You thinking of like Valley Girl?
No, where he's like a male dancer. I forgot. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's possible, but I'm not sure. But I think
Moonstruck.
that Moonstruck was his first like feature role.
Yeah.
But that came shortly before Peggy Sue
Oh.
got married, right? They were.
That came after.
Ooh.
Raising Arizona was kind of his first.
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
87. And I think that's 87.
Yeah, that's later.
That's later.
Now as I'm looking actually at Wikipedia, they're
Okay.
both same. They're both 87.
Okay, but which one was 86? I think that was Moonstruck, wasn't it?
No, Moonstruck, Raising Arizona, and Moonstruck were 80s. Were both 87.
Then Peggy Sue must have been 86.
86. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I remember seeing, I was probably 10 years old at the time, but Peggy Sue and Raising Arizona both in the theaters.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
And Peggy
yeah.
Sue got married just for the record, and I saw it on a date many years ago. But you go to a movie like that because the girl wants to see it, and you just sort of go along. But I remember how much I enjoyed that movie, and by the time it ends, there was sort of I don't know if you want to call it the moral to the story or whatever, the takeaway, and that was we can look back and identify bad decisions that we've made and mistakes we made. But the thing is, when you're in the moment, you choose based on what seems like the best thing to do at the time. And given the chance to do her life over again, she makes all the same choices. So I thought that was a pretty cool takeaway from the whole thing.
Yeah.
I have this girl.
It's
Go ahead,
Coppola's
Steve.
it's Coppola's best movie too.
Stop.
Yeah. Well, by the way, his daughter was in that. Whatever her name is.
Sophia.
Sophia, yeah, she was in that.
She ruined Godfather 3.
Okay, I disagree. I actually like her.
I disagree too. Yeah.
Sophia,
Yeah.
call me. We can-
Right.
Hey, no disrespect to her. She's had a pretty good film career after that, but I have not seen anything that she's done, any of the movies she's directed, just because I felt like the nepotism it's
Okay,
rampant.
but what's the one with Bill Murray and
Lost in Translation.
that Steve, man, do yourself a favor. That movie's really
All
good.
right,
Yeah.
I'll have to.
So, funny story is, I had this girlfriend from high school, not a girl who's a friend, pretty famous person now, and we had a guy in high school who was very similar to what was the guy who played the loner rock guy, kind of a badass guy, who she wishes she was with him instead.
Ooh, Peggy Sue?
Yeah, it's Bobby
Oh.
McFerrin plays him. I can't remember the guy's name.
Jim Carrey.
No, funny.
No,
It's-
he's in that
No,
movie.
Jim Carrey was in that.
He
Okay,
is,
no,
yeah.
but that's not the guy. So, so she's like reminiscing. This real friend of mine. What if there was a guy in our high school who's kind of tough guy, and I go, what would have happened in my life had I hooked up with him instead of what I did? I said, Peggy Sue got married. She's like, okay, thank you. That's all I had to say to her, and in one little sentence, she knew. It was like she shut her mouth and moved on. Exactly what would have happened. What happened in that movie? Peter McNichol, I think that's the guy's name who plays kind of a tough guy.
I think you're right.
Peter McNichols, the tough guy in that movie.
Yeah, he's like a super, super good actor.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Yeah.
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 I think you're right. I think that's who it was.
But it's funny because, you know, if every one of us went through that scenario and made different choices or could go back and do what the, you know, make a different choice back then, the reality is none of us would be sitting here doing this right now. Most
True.
likely.
Yeah, true. Very true.
There's an episode of Frasier, it's brilliant, where Frasier asks this woman out, and then it's doing two timelines where she says yes or where she says no. And by the end of the episode, it doesn't work out. So the episode of him driving his BMW, the two timelines go right back together, and it would have had no effect on his life. It was brilliant. I'm not here, but I was like, oh my God, that is absolutely brilliant. And someone should do a movie like that. Movies like what's that movie with Jim Belushi and Linda Hamilton? Mr. Destiny.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Same exact plot. And by the end of the movie, when Linda Hamilton's in the room by herself, like kind of sad, he's crying. He's like, dude, I think it's Mr. Michael Caine I think it's him. I can't remember anymore. But
I think you're right.
Oh my God, pain! I was in so much pain going. What it's like to make that and I was younger when that movie. Painful mistake. You know.
Right.
So,
yeah.
What about Nicholas? What about I like Con Air. It's entertaining. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
but hold on before we jump into the 90s. What about in the late 80s and early 90s? What
Wild
what
at Heart. Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. Yeah, what a good movie that was.
David Lynch. Yeah.
Definitely.
Red Rock West.
Who?
Red Rock West.
I don't think I ever saw it.
It's Coen Brothers. I'm sure Paul's seen it.
Red Rock West?
Yeah. I don't remember him being in that, but yeah, he was in that. Yeah, that's right. That was with Dennis Hopper and Laura Flynn Boyle.
I don't know how I never saw it, but I did.
It's a Coen Brothers movie, I think. No, actually, it's not. I'm mistaken. I thought it was a Coen Brothers movie, but it's supposed to take place in my neck of the woods, up here in Wyoming.
Huh. Okay. All right. Never heard of it. I mean,
it's a thriller type of movie, and I can't remember the plot to save my. I saw it in film school, in Bob Jones's class. Paul.
Oh my God, I did see this movie with you. It wasn't very memorable. Now that I think of.
No, it's kind of low budget. I mean,
Steve Dahl, or whatever the guy's name, the guy who does all the Western stuff.
John Dahl.
John Dahl. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I see it with you. Yeah.
I was thinking. I always get that movie confused with Blood Simple, which is a Coen Brothers movie. Which
that is a genius movie.
Great movie.
I love that movie.
It does get better as time goes on.
Emmett Walsh. Any movie he's in is automatically good.
Yeah. It's just dark and creepy. That movie is.
Yeah,
it's just.
I love Emmett Walsh.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys like Christopher Walken. Read the phone book and you just start laughing. The way remember he's the serial killer in The Jerk, and he's going through the phone book.
Right.
Okay, David Johnson, that's you, buddy.
Okay. Your lead in to that scene is terrible. Steve Martin opens the phone book and finds his own name and says, I'm in the phone book. There's my name, Navin Johnson. Right. I'm somebody. And right as he's saying I'm somebody, Emmett Walsh is across the street with a rifle going, Navin Johnson, you're a dead man.
They're shooting the oil cans, and Steve Martin goes, these oil cans are defective. They can't
get away from the oil cans.
Right. He just picked his name out of the phone book. All right, so let's jump ahead to the Face Off, the Con Air period right there. Those, to me, are both, I mean, I would give them a 10 as entertainment movies. Whether they're realistic or not is a different debate, but they're fun. They're not boring. They're solid adventure and action and all that. So I thought sitting in a movie theater watching either one of those for me was an absolute thrill.
Face Off's a John Woo movie. So
right.
Action play and Travolta. It's a good, I have never had the desire to see it again. I don't know about you, Steve.
No, you're leaving off The Rock either. And so that's
oh, you're right.
The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. I was a little bit more, I don't know, snooty in the mid 90s.
Okay.
So I've never seen any of those movies.
You should, because
Con Air is worth seeing.
They're entertaining. None of these are in danger of taking anybody's Oscar. It's
Yeah,
not going to happen.
I'm kind of, I think as I've gotten older, I've regressed into like wanting just more entertainment and just shutting my.
The Rock, in particular, of those three, The Rock to me has the greatest value as far as watching it over and over. I've seen it so many times and I never get tired of it. It's just
Well, I
that much
can't stand
fun.
the movie.
That's amazing.
Really?
I like Con Air way better than those two movies.
Okay.
That's just me though. It's,
I liked, you know, after that, so there was a string of his movies in the 90s I didn't see, but then I did see City of Angels, and I really enjoyed that. I know it's kind of I think it's a remake.
It is. The German. It's the original is a German movie.
About Brazil or something, or
I thought, I can't remember the name of it. It's probably named the same thing, but
it is. It's in German.
yeah.
It's, you know what? I actually watched it with subtitles. You know, I really enjoyed City of Angels. I thought the ending was, I don't know what word to use. It was a little bit predictable. I think it seemed obvious that that's where this was leading, you know, and the original was way less predictable than that. And so I would recommend that, even though I thought City of Angels was really good. Yeah. And I thought as far as just a single performance in which his acting is being measured, I don't think it gets much better than that. Yeah. Really good.
I really enjoyed it. I think I was not expecting that ending, just because with those types of movies, you don't generally expect it to end on a down note. So maybe that's why I was
right.
Right. Der Himmel über Berlin. That's what it was. The heaven over Berlin. That's
that same guy who played Hitler, Bruno Ganz, whatever. He was in that movie.
Are you sure? I'm looking at the credits right now.
I'm positive.
Maybe. You talking about Hitler from?
You mean the German movie?
Yes, correct.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yes, he was in the German, the original.
He's such a force.
He is. He absolutely is. Yeah.
He's in The Boys from Brazil, which I just watched like maybe 2 years ago. I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah.
That guy can speak English. He's dead now. Better than I can. Why didn't he get an Academy Award for playing Hitler? He should
have.
Are you talking about for Downfall?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's probably pretty obvious, but I mean,
you're right. You're right.
I mean, it's a good. Yeah, he's a great actor. I didn't realize he passed away.
Yeah. About a year ago, I think it was. Yeah.
I created one of the greatest kind of memes in the
all time.
I don't think anything will ever match that as far as the number of memes, because it's increased exponentially and continues to increase exponentially.
First time I saw it was about.
We just got our warning, so we're going to want to wrap up soon. Here.
First time I saw it, it was like the Volkswagen with some feature not going to be on the new Volkswagens, and of course I've seen the movie 30 times. So I already know what's coming, and so when you hear the German and the translation, like that's totally wrong. Even like it's just funny.
Well, I saw the movie first, and then I saw the first meme of it I saw was Star Wars.
Oh, was it?
It was, I think, about the prequels, and I was, I mean, it was awesome.
Paul, I saw that movie with you and Genevieve right over here, and
you see it because I think we had already seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, you did. You had already seen it. You saw it again.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. I saw it on Netflix back when they used to play like good movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, completely off topic here, but quick question. Did either one of you guys ever see us? You made me think of it, Steven. You said Netflix. There was a series from 2001 called Taken, a Steven Spielberg thing, 10 episodes. Anybody ever see that?
So like the first episode, it had a guy on there. He played like an army pilot.
Correct.
Usually a bad guy. He was the bad guy in the movie called The Transporter.
Oh, okay.
But he was I was like, oh my God, this guy's really good as a good guy. And I did the series end like as a stupid question? Did they resolve it in 10 or
we're about halfway through it, but it's 10 episodes. Really enjoying it so far. Each episode is about an hour and a half long, so you can't just binge watch it.
Are they about alien abductions?
Correct.
Yeah, I
Correct.
have not seen it. When I was poor when in the early 2000s and
But I remember I saw the first episode and then I don't even know how I saw it, to be honest. Like I don't know.
Okay.
It was on Netflix originally.
No, not originally.
It's
Not
got to be on
originally.
HBO Max now, I would think. So
Probably.
I do want to check it out because I am very interested in UFO.
Steve is
Yeah.
yeah. We could do
Okay,
a UFO show one day.
Halfway through, I highly recommend it, but I'll tell you more as soon as I know more. Okay, guys, any final thoughts for tonight? Any
I don't
final
watch
thoughts
The
on
Boys.
Nicolas Cage?
No, even though he's not in it, watch The Boys, Kenny. You have
Okay.
to watch it alone.
Okay,
I would
understood.
say watch Renfield if you like classic horror movies.
Okay.
And are we doing any special Oscars for
Honorary Oscars, you guys got
Go
it?
ahead, Steve.
I got one. So totally off topic. Eddie Murphy for Bowfinger. I don't think we've talked about that before. If you're a fan of, go ahead.
All I was going to say is we haven't talked about Bowfinger, but for me, I thought it was hilarious. And Eddie Murphy had not been funny in so many years that this was such a pleasant surprise. And he and Steve Martin together, I just thought it was a work of genius. I loved it. I've watched it multiple times.
That movie should
I liked
should have got Best Picture as well.
Jif. I mean, the guy who with the braces. I don't know how you know much talent that it says not to he like.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I never lived in LA. Paul did, and I can only imagine the number of kind of con artists, fake movie producers.
Oh my God, it's limitless.
Right. Right. Okay, well, because I trashed Mandy so bad, I'm going to
Yes, you
throw my
did.
honorary Oscar to the guy from Law and Order, whatever his name is, Linus, whatever, because he's memorable in this movie. In spite of the fact that I don't like the movie, he is definitely memorable. So I'll throw one for him.
The girl plays Mandy. I forgot her name. She's British. I think she's curvaceous. I think she's hot. She was in that movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise.
Right.
A lot of she's I forgot her name, lady. I'll give you props. She is awesome. And in Mandy, Mandy reminds me of this movie called Irreversible. Never watched this movie with Monica. It is the most. Jeremy wouldn't shut up. I watched it and I said, I am disturbed. It takes a lot to disturb me, and this movie completely disturbed me. With Monica, you never want to watch this.
Well, then,
all right, I'm going to take your word for it.
Rise. Go see Evil Dead Rise if you want to be disturbed.
Okay.
Or it doesn't bother me.
Okay, guys, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. So this is the Great Classic Movie Debate. Sister channel to the Great Classic Rock Debate. I'm Kenny.
I'm Paul.
Steve.
And if you're watching right now, please like, comment, and subscribe. We will love you for that. Until we meet again, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. China Syndrome.